In essence, the needs of musicians and audiences are simple. Musicians want to hear themselves and their fellow players, and they want to know that everyone can be heard clearly by the audience. Audiences want to hear and see the performers, both as an ensemble and as individual players. Before the advent of amplified music, this happened naturally. Musicians playing acoustically could hear the natural, uncolored sounds that they and their fellow musicians were producing. And because each sound came directly from its source, it was mixed in a natural way so that the musicians and their audience enjoyed an automatic connection between the visual and the oral. The source of a particular instrumental sound could be instantly located and fully appreciated. Nowadays, most music depends on amplification. Live performances are being played at high volumes. In response to the need of reaching greater numbers of people, the triple system concept was developed. The triple system consists of backline amplifiers, monitors, PA speakers, and one or more mixing consoles. The success of the triple system in large venues led to similar solutions for the smaller venues where most musicians perform. About the same number of different sound sources are used, but they are packed together in a much smaller area and cause many problems for the musicians and the audience. It starts with the transport of all the gear. The carrying and setup is heavy work and takes lots of time. You need stagehands, if you can afford them. To connect all the gear, you need masses of cabling that has to be carefully inserted into all the right inputs. One mistake, and there will be bad sound, or no sound at all. Acoustic properties of venues often have an unfavorable influence on the sound quality. The triple system easily uses up to 8 different sources, all producing sounds in different directions and all creating reverb. The result is often a massive clutter of sound. This is leading to one of the biggest problems musicians face, the so-called volume wars. Musicians struggle to hear themselves, and as a result, they turn up the volume of their instruments. The other musicians react by doing the same. The result? No overall improvement, a continuous threat of feedback, and every musician playing in a secluded spot of oddly balanced sounds. Especially on a club stage, it is very difficult to make instruments sound good for the musicians without triggering feedback and at the same time creating good balanced sound for the audience. And all of this work is done with the knowledge that the mere presence of the audience will alter the sound balance that was so carefully created. For smaller venues, triple system amplification works okay when you have a good, knowledgeable sound engineer and a band that follows his directions. But no matter how good he or she is, the monitor sound on stage will always differ drastically from what the audience is hearing. As a result, the musician's satisfaction is affected by a feeling of insecurity about the sound of the whole band. Is it any wonder that the most common thing heard from musicians after coming off stage is, "How did we sound?" Something had to change. The challenge was met with the invention of cylindrical radiator loudspeaker technology, incorporated in a new system, the Bose L1 system. A basic L1 consists of a cylindrical loudspeaker, a power stand, one or more bass modules with an additional amplifier, and a device for total control over inputs and tone, the T1 Tone Match Audio Engine. The L1 system has unique characteristics. It concentrates its sound waves in order to maintain sound level over a much longer distance than conventional loudspeakers. And by spreading the sound almost 180 degrees, the L1 creates a larger and more consistent sound field. And then, and this is the key, each musician is provided with an individual L1 placed behind them, and some musicians standing right next to each other might share an L1 system. Another unique advantage of the L1 system is its size. The cargo space needed is minimal, and the carrying and setup is easy. Here, you see the setup of an L1 system compared to the setup of a triple system. We've speeded things up a little bit for the sake of this demonstration. In the upper side of the screen, you'll see how much time it takes for musicians to set up their L1 systems. In the lower half, the triple system is built up by 4 others. As the connecting, tweaking, and sound checks for the triple system continues, you may wonder why the L1 system didn't show any of these adjustments. This is because all of the tweaking actions were done before. Not even small adjustments are necessary, and if so, they can easily be done while playing. The secret is the T1 Tone Match Audio Engine. All sound controls are combined in the new T1 Tone Match engine. It expands the input capacity of the L1 system to 4 channels, and it offers comprehensive sound control. The T1 allows nearly instant access to our largest library of proprietary sound presets, standard effects, and processing. Let's try a steel string guitar with piezo pickup. Inside the T1, you can immediately switch to presets from our Tone Match preset library. An optimally balanced EQ preset occurs, created in close collaboration with the guitar manufacturer. Tone Match offers you even more control. Select the input for a trumpet with an SM57 microphone. The optimal EQ setting occurs, and the EQ area is automatically limited to the frequency range of a trumpet. When you switch to ZEQ, you have extra control over the low, mid, and high frequencies that are specifically tailored to the range of the trumpet. The Tone Match optimal instrument setting stays active as a basis to build on. Tone Match audio presets instantly adjust your L1 system to match the intended natural sound of popular instruments and microphones, precisely reproducing the factory-specified tonal balance of your instrument at the touch of a button. The T1 Tone Match audio engine takes the guesswork out of getting studio sound on stage. Let's have a look at amplified sound in smaller venues. We've seen the clutter caused by the sound sources of the triple system and their various reflections. We also know about the difference in sound on stage compared to the audience, the feeling of isolation by the musicians. And now, look at how the L1 behaves. L1 audio waves spread only horizontally. Their vertical spread is limited to the height of the L1. Almost no reflections from the ceilings and almost no interference with reflections from the walls. Musicians and audience share the same sound field. The L1 keeps its sound level over a much longer distance than traditional loudspeakers. For instance, at a distance of 8 meters from the source, the L1 will lose only 9 dB of sound, while the conventional loudspeaker will lose 18 dB. At a distance of 16 meters, the difference has doubled, minus 12 for the L1 and minus 24 for the conventional speaker. 12 dB is a very significant difference, as you can hear right now. If we want the triple system to equal the L1 sound level at 16 meters, the triple system's output level needs to be turned up by 12 dB, resulting in often painfully loud sound in the front. It is this fundamental property of the L1 system, the relatively small change in sound level with distance, that allows them to be placed behind the musicians and have the sound reach the back row of the audience without at the same time being too loud on stage. And what about feedback? In the triple system, one microphone is connected to multiple loudspeakers, PA, monitors, and so on. And each of these connections holds the potential for feedback. In an L1 system, one microphone is connected to only one speaker, thus reducing the opportunity for feedback. And because the sound field of the L1 is unusually consistent, its vulnerability to feedback is relatively low, a unique advantage that most musicians only believe after they've moved around with a microphone in front of an L1 system. Another comparison. Although the triple system consists of many components, the result in the end is just stereo sound. The eye-ear connection, the physical connection between the musician and his sound, is lost. All instrument sounds are forced into one stereo image. In a band playing with L1 systems, every instrument's sound comes from its specific place on the stage, serving as a distinctive sound source for the musicians and the audience. We call this multi-mono. In conclusion, with the L1 approach, musicians hear themselves and their fellow musicians in the same sound balance as the audience. Musicians alone have control over instrument levels and balance. They play together as if they're unplugged, and the audience regains the eye-ear connection. And thus, we have recreated a lost quality in music amplification, the natural mix.